Welcome to another episode of the Financial Armor Show. My name is Jose Rodriguez, investment advisor here at Cooper Financial Investments, and your host for today, alongside my co-host Tony Shore. How's it going, Tony?
Oh, Jose, I am so good. It hurts. Uh, that's how good it is today. I'm just busy. You know how it is when you get a
Yep.
day when it's just like, did I eat lunch today? No, I didn't. Huh. But it's actually pretty good when you don't notice until late in the day.
Yeah,
It helps the day go. I'll tell you what, this day's been flying by. Uh,
I
that's
know.
that's for sure. Time flies when you're having fun, right?
Time flies when you're busy. That's what I like. Busy days when I don't
Yeah,
even get to look at anything else but but the computer or somebody
yeah.
and be in meetings 24/7. That's the best way to go because time just flies, and all of a sudden I'm in the weekend and it's great.
Yeah, there you go. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, I don't know how it's a tough act to follow last week's show, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was quite a show.
Yeah.
Dr. Hill, correct? That was the
Yes,
name of
Dr.
your
Hill is
Professor Hill.
yeah, it is really interesting because I had him so many times and it was finally, and I never really talked to him in person as far as directly. And it was just he was very nice, very knowledgeable, and so
Yeah.
good at teaching. That's why he's been doing this for as long as he has. And the classes that he teaches, what that he taught me, are one of the hardest classes there are in the I guess curriculum of economics degrees.
Sure.
Um, and that's why I think he has to have that skill of just bringing things down to a third grade level and really explaining things. So I think he was
Well,
great.
I don't know if we go down third grade, but it wasn't quite. He didn't have to get that low for us, but I will tell you, he really explained things well, and he's very well spoken, and it comes across that he's very intelligent, and not
Yeah.
just intelligent like talking above you. That's what I love about it. He's explaining complex um, economic concepts
Hmm.
and trying to explain that, but in a way that's just relatable. And he really made it work. And I mean, it's really interesting to hear somebody who is intelligent and well versed and well read and studied on this country's economics specifically and the world, but what's going on and what the bill means, the big beautiful bill, and what that
Yeah.
can mean and how that impacts aspects of our economy. So that was a great show. And
Yes.
today we're going another route
Yes.
completely, and we're talking about longevity risk. So to start us off, Jose, what is longevity risk? Why is there a risk of longevity?
Yeah. So
That
the
means
long
living longer, right? Longevity
right.
means
Yeah. I
I'm going
mean
to live longer.
that's the biggest reason why I wanted to talk about this topic today is because we are living longer, and the
Right,
longevity risk, or in other words, the risk of you living longer than your money,
right.
yeah,
Outliving
that
your
you
money.
have,
Yeah.
is the likelihood of that happening today and age is higher than it was 10, 20, 30 years ago because we're
And
living longer.
than it ever was, probably,
Right. Yeah,
because people are.
exactly.
I mean, you live 30. You know, a lot of people used to spend maybe 5 years in retirement. I mean, if they were, you know what I
That's
mean. A
crazy to
lot of
think about,
people,
isn't it?
yeah. Oh, Social Security. What was the full retirement age at one point? Was 64 or
Was it?
63? And then people didn't the life, or maybe it was 65, but life expectancy was only 63, I think. So
Wow.
it was full retirement age was after full life expectancy, right? So
Yeah.
it is funny. Now you can spend 20, 30 years easily in retirement.
Oh, yeah.
uh
And
and
especially people wanting to retire early too. I feel like that's more common. I don't know. It seems like a lot of people in their 50s are now wanting to retire at their 50s, which I didn't think that a lot of people want to stop working
yeah,
sometimes. I don't
yeah,
know. Or maybe just slow down. I don't know.
yeah.
But yeah, the we're living longer. The current life expectancy age is 79 and a half. And for women, it's even longer. It's 82 years old.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
the one of the things that I wanted to bring up that are very important that I think are going to really be at risk for longevity is it's your assets, right? And what could be coming at your assets because you don't know when these things are going to happen and how to prepare for them. One of the biggest things are that, and we just talked about it, from Dr. Hill, future taxation. It seems like it's imminent, and that could be in the next 5-10 years. Most likely, I think we talked about that in the 2030s.
Yeah.
And something I wanted to add at the end was, and we talked about the ratio of people that are paying into Social Security per beneficiary or per retiree. Back in the 1950s, I think, or right after World War II.
Yeah.
It was 15 to 1. So 15 taxpayers per retiree. Tony, guess how many taxpayers per retiree we're at today?
I don't know, a lot less. I know that.
3 to 1.
It went from 15 to 3.
3 to 1.
Yeah.
And this is according to a Congressional Budget Office report, which, just like Dr. Hill, that's something I do on my free time, just to go on these reports and just read them. I'm
for
weird
fun.
like that.
People,
for fun.
People, this is what Jose does for fun. This is why sometimes we feel sorry for Jose.
No. But yeah, I was reading that, and that's why it's important for me at the end. I just wanted to just add that before we left, that there's less taxpayers per beneficiary, per retiree. So that means increasing taxes is going to be a huge risk that could eat away at your retirement assets.
Right.
So that's one thing. The second thing is long-term care. Since we're living longer, more and more people are going to start needing long-term care. And I wanted to read some stats. I got these stats from OneAmerica, which is an insurance company that has been in the long-term care space for the last 100 years.
Wow.
Plus, actually.
Yeah.
And this is some of the stats just on their claims from the last 35 years, actually. 73% of their claimants are females, which it was actually surprising to me, but also once I started thinking about it, it makes sense. Usually men tend to not live as long.
Yeah, women tend to outlive men,
right?
Quite as much as 6 years, typically.
Right,
yeah, that's
right. And just
crazy.
Going back to the stat on the life expectancy for men is 79.5, and for women is 82. Right, and
right.
So 73% of claimants, according to OneAmerica, are women. Average age is 84. And out of the people that claim these long-term care benefits from OneAmerica, 55% of them are related to cognitive issues. Okay. And average time that someone lasts in long-term care is 3 to 5 years. Right. And so what this tells me is that most people, the people that are most susceptible to this risk seems to be females, right? Females that are in their 80s.
Yep.
Right. So that's when we can kind of have an idea of when we could expect for this to happen to people. So when it comes to planning, we know when to be ready for it, because there's no way of knowing when exactly someone's going to need this, or if you're going to need it at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know the stats are over 70% of the, if you live for couples that live past age 65, there's over a 70% chance you'll need long-term care. And both my parents are in long-term care.
Right.
And they're both in their 80s. So,
right.
It just happens. And so what you're saying is, living longer, there are negatives to living longer.
Yeah.
And that is, the longer you live, the more you're probably going to have to spend on healthcare, the more likely you're going to need. And I know as you get older, the likelihood of needing long-term care increases significantly. And so the odds are, I mean, right now it's almost 1 out of every 3 people will need long-term care. And the older you live, the more that likelihood increases. So more and more people are needing it, and it's because we're living longer. So what I always say, Jose, is the good news is we're living longer. The bad news is we're living longer. So, right?
But here's the deal. Here's the deal, though. That you have some control if people that are pre-retirees. I mean, it doesn't matter what age you are, but there is ways to better your longevity. I mean, you're definitely living longer, but it's up to you. You have some control over how uh, healthy you are through these years, right? Because
Right.
there is proven ways to better your way of life, eating healthy, exercising, and make sure you get your checkups at the doctor. Those are things that just, you're going to live longer, but make sure that those years that you live longer are good. You're
Yeah.
actually enjoying yourself. That's one thing. And the second thing is preparing yourself with your financial plan to make sure that when that time comes, you're prepared and you're not subject to that surprise factor, which is what leads people to go bankrupt and running out of money.
Right.
And so that's something that we talk about a lot. We're very passionate about it. Brad is currently going through it, unfortunately, with his father-in-law and mother-in-law, and they're spending his in-laws are spending, I think, around $9,000 to $10,000 a month, right?
Yeah.
And that is an astronomical number. People think about unexpected expenses during retirement, and people think, oh, I'm gonna, changing my AC unit, which is here. It happens, I feel like, more often than not, because it just works so much over the summer.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
replacing
That's
an
the
AC
Arizona heat
unit,
for you.
or roof or windows or
Yeah.
whatever. And those don't tend to be more than what, $10,000-$20,000. How much does it cost to replace a roof? 15,000.
Oh, it's at least 15,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah.
So imagine, replacing a roof, replacing your AC unit every month. That's what it's like
Oh,
for somebody that is in long-term care that is needing these
yeah.
kinds of benefits.
Yeah, my mom is in long-time care, and she needs full
Mhm.
full care and full nursing care,
Mhm.
full-time care, and it's $11,000 a month.
There you go. And that's very unfortunate, and it's so, I mean, it's just really expensive. And I actually
Mhm.
have some stats too from Genworth. Cost of care did a survey. Uh, Genworth did a cost of care survey for all the long-term care facilities out there, and or just any kind of services that are connected to this. And the cheapest route to go is, it says here, adult daycare health services, which the average in the nation is 24,700 a year. Right, that's the cheapest to
Right.
go. The most expensive, which is the private room, nursing home type of setup,
Yep.
and that the average in the nation the average cost in the nation is $117,000 a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And how are you going to cover that? You have to have plans. And I know there are strategies that you and Brad and the staff there have used to help people. There's hybrid policy. There are solutions, right?
yeah, there definitely are solutions to deal with them. It's essentially just trying to leverage every dollar you have and make sure that this could be your assets could take care of you. Because if you eventually run out of money, uh, then you're in the hands of the government, of the state.
Right.
And
Right.
for the first 20 days that you need this kind of service, yeah, Medicare pays for the whole thing for the first 20 days. Then from 20 days to 100 days, Medicare only pays for part of it, and whoever the beneficiary is pays a daily co-insurance amount. Then after that 100 days, Medicare pays for nothing. So after that 100 days,
Yeah.
you're in
Medicare really doesn't cover long-term care at all. It's actually transitionary care or
Mhm.
transitory care where if you're transitioning from knee replacement surgery or something where you have to rehabilitate and learn to walk or can't take care of yourself for a while, but it's only for rehabilitation purposes.
Right.
And if they and it's only if you've been in the hospital for something like that. So there are a lot of stipulations
Oh
whether
yeah.
they're going to cover it at all. And if they do, it's 90 to 100 days max, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's not good. So basically, the bottom line is Medicare doesn't cover long-term care. You're going to need a plan in place, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Um, See, and the biggest thing is, making sure, because nobody really likes the lifestyle of long-term care. So there are things that you can do to even prevent going in there, which is, like I said before, um, uh, exercising, eating well, eating healthy. Make sure that you do puzzles. You make sure you keep your mind active. Um, that is the best way to make that longevity even better. And it could prevent people from going into those services and needing that.
sure.
And one other thing that we usually do is have the conversation of, hey, what is your life, your family medical history? That sometimes that's not. I feel like a lot of people don't talk about that, but it's important because we know how much it costs to go into long term care. And what if somebody is more susceptible to a specific disease or some kind of um, dementias in their family. So make sure we watch out for that. And usually, let's say my uncle got it at this, you start showing at this age, and then my aunt at this age and that age. So we can kind of have an idea. I mean, according to our family history, when can we expect this? Because you never know when it's going to happen, but you just have to prepare for when if it does happen, right?
Yeah. When it does, you have to be prepared. They always say plan for the best, but prepare for the worst,
Mm-hmm.
right? Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And I just think longevity risk is so important because the longer you live, the more money you're going to need in
Mm-hmm.
retirement. So you're going to have to save more, the more healthcare is going to cost. We've been talking about that. And not just long term care, but healthcare in general. The
Mm-hmm.
longer you live, the more likely it is you're going to be spending more on more and more medications, more expensive medications, more co-pays, more premiums. Even with Medicare, there are things it doesn't cover, right?
100%. So what I suggest every listener that we have here is, or the people that are watching on YouTube as well,
Yep.
to really take a look at your own situation and say, I do have kind of a history of, maybe dementia or Alzheimer's. It's in the family. Maybe I should take a look about how I'm positioned if something were to happen like that in the next 5-10 years. If once you hit age 75 and 80 is really that age where everything just starts to get the risk of you needing that kind of care just goes up
Sure.
dramatically after age 80.
Sure.
So
Sure.
really take a look at your own, have that conversation with yourself. And
Sure.
then I would say, don't hesitate to give us a call and then see how, from our lens, how that affects you.
Yeah. In fact, before we go on to some other aspects of this topic, Jose, let our listeners out there know how they can get a hold of you. I have a couple more quick questions for you,
Sure.
but how can our listeners out there get a hold of you?
Yeah, so they can give us a call at 888-390-5277 or go to financialarmorshow.com and schedule that no cost, no obligation consultation.
Yep. Yep. And so I want to go back over. We've talked a lot about the healthcare aspect, right? But let's go over just and maybe reiterate. I know you may have alluded to them earlier, but longevity risk has to do with running out of money in
Mm-hmm.
retirement. You talked about the biggest expense in retirement, long term care that you might want to look at, and then healthcare, but also taxes and just income in retirement. You're going to need that much more income. if it used to be people would be lucky if they lived till 70. Now
Mhm.
we have more and more people living to age 100. That's a lot more income they have to come up
Yeah.
with.
Yeah, and then the best our perspective of making sure that a lot of people don't run out of money from, let's say an investment perspective, is making sure that we understand your current risk situation.
Right.
Because it's one thing to be very aggressive during your accumulation years, 40s, 30s, 50s, even, that you're contributing into your investment accounts or 401ks and all those things. And you're, from an investment perspective, you're being more aggressive, right?
Yeah.
You can take the risk because you can just wait until it comes back. But once you're in retirement, you can't, you can't afford a 20, 30% drop,
Right.
because you will be doing something what we call the reverse dollar cost averaging, which essentially, as the market is coming down and you're also withdrawing money from your assets,
Yeah.
that, you can make a 20% drop even worse, to maybe to have the effect of a 30% drop, because you're also taking money out. So
Yeah.
when it comes to coming back from that, it is a lot harder to going back to where you were in the beginning.
Sure. So what's the solution? What do you do to help your clients? I mean, I know one of the solutions for income and retirement is the first step, maximize Social Security, but
Mhm.
like avoiding that market risk where if the markets are down, we're having a year like 2008, 2022, or the beginning of COVID, 2020, 2019. What do you do to help your clients in their plan? How do you plan for that? How do you, what's the answer?
Yeah, it's really have the first a good understanding of what every individual's risk tolerance is,
Yep.
then choosing the right investment strategies that can, make sure that when the market goes up, we maximize those returns, and then when the market goes down, you're not going down 10, 20, 30%.
Yeah.
The way that we do that is use buffer strategies. We've talked about them
Yeah.
on the show, that, have that 10, 15% buffer, that if the market goes down, you don't lose money until after 15%. So it reduces that, it gives you that cushion. Then another way would be maybe an annuity. People like annuities because there's no market risk, right? And when the market goes up, they can earn some money, or they can, you also leverage them to give them guaranteed income for the rest of their lives. And but it's really hard to say which one specifically works best for everybody. It's more of an individual thing. And so, where this conversation starts is by finding out someone's risk tolerance first.
Yeah.
Then, after having that conversation, we can talk about, okay, out of these conservative routes, which ones of these best fit your situation?
Yeah. And so, and when you talk about conservative routes, like in for times when the market's down, you won't have all your, if you have a client, they're 75, 80 years old, you're not going to have all their money in the market anyway. But
Mm-mm.
what's in there is in there for growth. And so if the market's down, they will have other buckets to pull money from income while it's down, to let it go back up and realize the gains and the compounding interest and take advantage of that, because they have other buckets where their principal's protected, where taking money out isn't going to hurt them as much as it would pulling from the market. Am I correct in that?
Exactly. And everyone just saw uh, that just happened in April, was it? Liberation Day. Um, a lot of people saw in the market, the general market, that they saw the market coming down, but a lot of our clients didn't see that big of a drop. So it's that's really our investment philosophy, to make the most amount of money with the least amount of risk. So I think that is our strategy to make sure people don't outlive their money.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, there you go. And that's the key right there, making sure people don't outlive their money. You don't want your bank account to go to zero before your blood pressure does. I always say, right?
Yes. I'm gonna start
Yeah.
using that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, hey, I think, Jose, great topic that you came up with. Longevity risk is a big one, and I know you and the staff there work hard to help your clients with this. You've helped so many people, and if you have a written plan in place and you're working with a trusted financial professional, this isn't something that should keep you up at nights. If you're not, it should be keeping you up at night. You got to get a plan in place. Do that. So one last time before we go, let our listeners know how they can set up. You're offering a no charge, no obligation consultation, correct?
Yeah. You can reach us at 888-390-5277 or go to the website, financialarmorshow.com, and schedule that no cost, no obligation consultation.
All right. Sounds good. Hey, thanks, Jose. And listeners and viewers, thanks for tuning in. That does it for another great episode of the Financial Armor Show with our host, Jose Rodriguez. Thanks, Jose.